All right, let's dive in here. Today, I'm going to tell you about how women 40 plus can finally get results from limiting beliefs to the action steps you need to take. So sit back and enjoy. If you're not sure who I am, my name is Drew Tadia, founder and CEO of True Form Life. For the past 20 years, we've been helping women 40 plus increase energy, burn body fat, and balance hormones. So that's you're in the right place. I'm going to dive in here and I'm going to go through this with you and share my screen so you can see exactly what's happening step by step. All right. So the ladder, build it rung by rung. Let me explain this to you. If we were to look at the very beginning of what you need to do, I have to look at your beliefs, your belief system, and what you believe to be true. So if we're looking at beliefs here, this is where we begin. This will determine what you'll try, what you'll stick to, and what you'll believe. So before you even begin, you have to look at what your belief system is. And that could be programs don't work. It could be I've tried everything, nothing works. All of this starts with your mind in mind. That's the very first thing that you have to consider, and you have to start working towards and breaking through these limiting beliefs for you to actually see results in your life. If you believe everything you've tried everything and nothing works, honestly, there's hundreds of thousands of programs out there. It's not possible to try all of them in a lifetime. There's certain things like that's a trigger for some of you right now. I know it. That is a limiting belief set. So you have to find your limiting beliefs and you have to break through them. We're going to move on to skills. The next one is you actually have to develop skills. Some people have never learned to be consistent in their life. If you've never learned to be consistent, it's really hard to stick to anything. For example, are you inconsistent when you tell your friends and family you're going to show up somewhere? Are you the person you may or may not even know? Are you the person that kind of shows up or says you're going to be there and no one really knows if you're going to be there? That's consistency you're lacking, and that shows in other areas of your life. That's going to show if you're going to be able to stick to workouts, if you're going to be able to stick to a meal plan. So it's a skill to develop a habit, understanding and knowledge through the consistency that you have built over time. So you can't skip this step. You have to have skills in your life. And some people haven't learned to sweat. They haven't learned to push through a difficult workout. This all takes time to actually see results, but it's essential for you to understand that these skills are so important that you have to learn the skills before you can actually get good at anything. If you're to look at anything that you enjoy doing, anything that you've accomplished in your life, there was a skill based around that you've learned and developed, and then you got good at it, and then you started to enjoy it, and you got better at it, likely because you were consistent, you learned how to do it, and you had the knowledge to figure it out, okay? The next one is identity 10.0. So who you become when the belief and skills stack up. I like to think about when you're involved in a wellness journey, let's say. So many people are focused on the scale. It's all about scale. It's all about weight loss. It's all about those tangible results. But we don't consider about the person we're becoming. Think about that it's a big one for me, for past experiences in my life, where consistency is very important. It's ingrained in me to be consistent at whatever it is that you're going to be. It's integrity. You say something and you mean it. You say something and you do it. And a lot of people don't have that. It seems like it's been normalized where you say things, you don't really mean it. It's like we're all politicians. Don't worry, I'm not going down that route. But if you, just for example, if you're that flighty type of person that never shows up when you say you're going to be there, think about you learn the skill of consistency, and then that changes the person you are. You are now becoming a reliable person. You say you're going to do something and you do it. That gives you more integrity. People have more respect for you. You are lifted higher up. Your kids or grandkids think more of you. These are all improvements or benefits that you don't see on a scale. So this is why it's so important to consider the person that you're becoming more than that number. That scale, that's the only thing that matters. Consider the identity that you have now. The identity that you embody is the words you say, it's the thoughts you think, it's the actions that you take. So if you embody someone that's inconsistent, someone that doesn't particularly maybe you don't work hard, maybe you don't show up. There's dozens of them. Maybe you're always complaining and maybe you don't know it. Maybe the littlest things set you off. So you're reactive. There's so many different areas in your life that could be improved, but you have to consider the person that you're becoming and embody that 10.0 person to level up. You have to continue to level up where you're at in life to be able to accomplish more things. So for example, a lot of times people say, I want to lose 30, 40 pounds. So they come to us, I want to lose 30, 40 pounds. So you have to become a person that is able to lose the 30, 40 pounds. Not just that, because that's pretty easy short term, but you have to become a person as you level up that can keep that off. So a person that has lost 40 pounds thinks differently, they act differently, they behave differently, which is why your identity has to embody that. And you have to continue to level yourself up until that becomes your new normal. That's just who you are. It's what you do. You've kept that weight off. So for example, maybe you want to lose another 10 pounds. You embody someone else. And the only way you can do that is letting go of the past, the person that was in the past, by continuing to leveling up your skills and changing your identity. I'm a big fan of quotes. Build your identity, beliefs, and skills together, rung by rung, which is ladder by ladder, right? That's how you become the person who can sustain the level you're chasing. You can write that down if you like. When it comes to being uncomfortable, when we have ladies come into our program, you need to feel some sort of discomfort to see more results. If you are comfortable in the place that you're in, then you're stagnant. You don't see more results. The only way you can see results is to live outside of your comfort zone and push your boundaries. You have to live outside the box and become uncomfortable. As a coach, that's my job. My job is to make my clients and members uncomfortable so I can push them to new levels. So if you're thinking, for example, that this should be easy, you're very wrong. No program is going to work because there's going to be there's going to be no friction. How do they make diamonds? It's a whole lot of friction. It's a whole lot of compression, right? You have to be willing to go through some of the challenges. And if you think it's all going to be easy, I have a really hard time imagining how anyone would see results in any place in life. So you have to confront yourself that it's not easy. You have to understand that this is not going to be an easy journey. Growth is not comfortable. And that's the expectation, is a trap. If you think that you shouldn't be uncomfortable or this should be easy, you're going to have a really hard time seeing results no matter what it is that you're trying. So I don't have to change to get what I want. Or I have ladies that come into our program and they're like very resistant to making any change. And I just say, the more you're willing to change, the more results that you're going to see. So that's something that you have to work on as an identity, as a belief system, that I must be willing to change to see more results. So you don't get to stay the same person to hit new levels. That's all there is to it. You have to be willing to let go of the past person and become a new identity. And once you hit that level and that baseline, you could be content, you could be happy there. But if you want to level up and become a new person, you have to let go of that past identity. That's how it works. I bought a program, that's enough. That is not buying a program or investing in a program is just the very first step. And it's a big step. A lot of women will never invest anything significant in their life. Financially, emotionally, it will be a personal trainer. It will be $50 a month membership. It will be free YouTube videos. That's the majority of women. So if you think that you bought a program and I'm head above shoulders everyone else, I don't need to put in any work, you're just setting yourself up for failure. The investment is a ticket. Like, you have bought yourself a ticket to get on rides and to enjoy yourself at the park. You've got your ticket, you've gotten in the door. You still have to wait in line to get on the roller coaster. You still have to wait in line to get your hot dog and fries. Maybe bad analogy for what we do. But the transformation is the work you do inside. It's what you do once you get into the park and the actions that you take. Are you continually showing up? Or are you sitting on the bench in the shade because it's too hot? Or because the lines are too long? Or because of a dozen other things that you can think of while you're not taking action? It's not, I bought my ticket, I'm in, It's, I bought my ticket, now my journey begins, and it's time to hit the ground running. Okay, when these beliefs run your thinking, you can't recognize the hard season is growth. When you're going through the hard, that's actually when you're expanding, you're changing your mindset, you're changing your vision, you're changing your results. And it's really hard to see it when you're in it. When you're in it, you're like, oh, this is too hard. I don't really want to do it. I want to quit. I want to give up. The women that see the best results, they push through those times, those hard times. And then on the other side, they look back and they're like, wow, that was really hard. I can't believe I got through it, but these results are amazing. So when you set big goals, life will probably be uncomfortable. The bigger your goal is, the more uncomfortable you're going to be, because the more outside of your comfort zone it is, the more you have to change your identity. So that's not a sign that it's broken, that it becomes difficult. It's a sign that it's working. If you are feeling uncomfortable in a program, if you're feeling like this is difficult, this is challenging, that's where you want to be if you want to see results. If you get into a program and it's like everybody else's program, or if it's this is pretty easy, you're not going to see the results you're hoping for. Let's carry on. What are most people doing? So the average woman that comes to me and she says, this is what's happening. These are my challenges. I'm not seeing any results. It's because in most cases, you're following a random meal plan. You follow a keto diet for a few weeks. You try intermittent fasting. You've tried different peptides. You're like on Ozempic, so you don't have any appetite. You're not eating at all. So there's no direction, no structure, and no consistency. Probably the top one that I see most. However, under eating and skipping meals is here. Most women don't eat enough. Thinking less food means faster results is the opposite of what you really should be doing. Doing workouts without a plan, so random effort, random workouts, whether that's free YouTube, showing at the gym, doing some weights one day, cardio the next day. It's just random with no real plan. Chasing quick fixes, so it could be shakes, detoxes, 30-day programs, all short-term programs, which may give you short-term results, and you can't figure out why you can't get anything to stick. And then, of course, starting or stopping. In most cases, you have. I'm doing this shake challenge for 5 days. I'm doing this 30-day program for 30 days. And then you stop doing all the things that's working, and you fall off, right? Or you lose the ambition, I would say motivation, but I don't entirely believe in that. So there's no compounding progress, and always brings you back to square one. So you always feel like you're starting over. And that becomes, so this is interesting because that's a habit that you've created. It's a skill that you've learned. Some people are really good at starting and stopping. You may have some people in your life that have a really hard time quitting anything. They may not quit a marriage that they should not be involved in because it's terribly toxic. They may have a horrible job. They just don't know how to quit. And that comfort is easier than that comfort is easier than moving on and trying something else, which is more uncomfortable, but they'll make more money and have more free time and have more joy in their life. But they're not willing to go through that discomfort in their life to make it happen. You're likely not failing because you're lazy. I think that's an excuse. Some people say, oh, I'm lazy. I don't believe it. You're failing because you don't actually have a plan. If you have a plan, being lazy has nothing to do with it. You just follow the plan. If you have a good plan, you may say, I'm not very good at following the plan, which is probably a skill you'll need to learn to see more success in your life and level up. Okay, I don't have too much more here. Hang with me. Why it's not working? Hunger suppression equals fat loss. You're starving yourself, meaning you're making your metabolism slower. You're doing the opposite of what we want you to do to see results, burn body fat, put your body in a fat burning stage. Everything starts flowing properly, but you think that hunger suppression is actually a good thing. Low calories equal sustainability. So your body adapts and the results stop, right? So you can't keep eating less and less calories. It just doesn't, it's not going to work. It's not sustainable. It's not a sustainable way for you to see results. So healthy choices equal results. Without structure, good intentions go nowhere. So healthy choices once in a while. I'll talk to a lot of women that will say, oh, I'll just do it myself. And I'll say, how's that been going for the last 40 years? I was like, wow, I've been struggling this with 40 years, so not very good. There's no structure. It's just, oh, I'll just make better choices, or I'll just do it when I'm motivated or more disciplined. Those are great, but structure wins head above shoulders. Hormones are working against you. Cortisol and metabolic adaptation are real. So your body is in a different place in life as you continue to age. 40 plus, you probably feel like a completely different person in that menopausal type of state, which is why you need something clear and specific to you and where you're at. And in most cases, you're losing muscle, not fat. You see those people that lose extreme amount of weight, especially in a short amount of time, that's muscle mass. That makes everything harder long-term. It's called sarcopenia. It's actually the disintegrating of your muscles, which happens if you're not doing resistance training, if you're not eating a higher protein diet, if you're not prioritizing your lifestyle. Not only are you working towards osteoporosis as your bone mass decreases, so does your muscle mass. And that's where we see a lot of injuries, imbalances, a lot of challenge as you get older. Random effort equals random results every single time. Okay, what you should be doing instead is stop trying to eat less. Be a great idea. That'd be the first thing that you should do, is actually fuel your body. Start to fuel your body properly and make sure you're getting enough nutrients. Most women, I would say 80% plus women, come to me and they eat far less than they should be to see results. It's usually a light breakfast and a big supper, and then snacking in the evening. They're craving, hormones are all over the place, they're starving themselves, metabolism is out of whack, gut microbiome, like it's all there, and it's because you're trying to starve yourself into losing weight. You don't need more workouts, you need better structure. So a lot of times, even the women that are working out, they don't have much structure. So they're just burning their muscle mass by doing cardio, or they're inconsistent because one day it's these exercises, or they're working out like men. It's a push-pull day, it's bicep back day. Like, those are not specific workouts to women 40 plus. Those are just random workouts. Hunger is feedback, not the enemy. It's telling you something. If you're hungry, you need to fuel your body in a balanced way so you can increase your metabolism. If hunger is not the enemy, hunger can actually help you understand what's happening with your body. Protein first with every meal. If you're not hitting protein, nothing else matters in most cases, because protein has a higher thermic burn, which will help increase your metabolism easier than a different macro. That's number one. And because of this age group, you're losing muscle mass rapidly, which I just mentioned previously. You need to add protein to your diet. Most women are having maybe 25% of the amount of protein they should be having in a day. Very unfortunate. That's because we live in a carb-heavy society. Consistency beats intensity. Consistency is queen. Consistency trumps all. If you are consistent with the things that you're doing, you'll see results. As long as you're doing the right things, or at least some of the things that I'm sharing with you, you'll see results. If you are randomly doing any of these things without consistency, you'll likely see zero results. This is one of my favorite quotes, because we live in a world of AI and social media and YouTubes and Reels. There is endless information. We have never had more information in our lives. And we've never had less of implementation. You need to stop consuming and start taking action. Okay, this is my last slide here. What actually has to change? You have to set new goals. So new goals, not the same ones you've been carrying for years. So if you're like, okay, I'm gonna lose 20 pounds. You've been trying to lose 20 pounds for 40 years. The reason why you haven't lost 20 pounds or 40 pounds, or whatever your same goal is for years and years, is that by setting the same goal, you're taking the same action. If you were to change your goal, you might take different action. That comes from skills, standards, which I'm going to explain here in a second. But setting new goals, like instead of losing a bunch of weight, I want to get stronger. I want to be able to do more push-ups. I want to be able to hike that mountain. Whatever that is, I want to play with my grandkids without get off the floor without grimacing in pain. Whatever it is, new goals will offer different action. Set new standards. What will you accept from yourself to change? If you have that self-limiting belief of I'm not consistent. I've tried everything. I don't like leftovers. I won't eat fill in the blank, fish, avocado, etc. Those are all limiting beliefs that you have taught yourself for years and likely have lived them. So if you set a new standard of I am an open slate, the world is your oyster. What you accept from yourself has to change, and we have to remove those limiting beliefs. And here comes the dragons. Every time you set a new goal, more dragons come out and it becomes more challenging. Remember, the bigger goal, the more challenging these are. Well, there's nothing wrong with big goals. I believe in big goals, but I also believe in chopping them down to bite-sized pieces, because as you change and adjust, you can work towards being closer to that goal. So the dragons always come out. What happens is you have old habits creep in, limiting beliefs, hard days, and that has been your normal for years. So it's easy to go back there. You have to continue to break through those old beliefs, those old habits, and hold yourself to a higher standard. Experiencing yourself as a new person. So take action from that identity, not the old one. So you have to be very clear on the person that you want to become, and then live that person, live that life, speak like them, act like them, think like them. It's very different than when we, in our Triple S, our free school community, it's called Sovereign Strength. We work through different levels. So we have the indentured servant, where a lot of women are stuck, imprisoned, mostly in their mind. We move them to the handmaiden, the queen, and then priestess. So if you're an indentured servant and you want to become a queen or a priestess, you have to start behaving like that. You have to start acting like that, because that's the only way to get yourself to that next level. Repeat until it's a habit. Like, you have to continue to repeat this until you have clear evidence. Once you have that evidence, you have proof, and then you have a more buy-in from yourself more than anyone. It stops being hard when it becomes who you are. And you have to believe that you're becoming a new person. And that's scary, changing your identity, because you've been that same identity for so many years. You have to let go of that identity, let go of the handmaiden, so you can move in to the queen status. Achieve your goals or learn the lesson. So if you set a goal and you work towards it, you cannot fail. You have two avenues of success. You either learn lessons from going through the process of working towards that goal, or you reach the goal, and then that becomes your new normal. Either way, you move forward and you get a chance to level up and become more of the person that you like to be. Realign and repeat. So this process is not a 30-day program. It's your life. It's not a beginning and an end. When you embark on this journey of raising up to the person that you want to be, there's not an end. So that's probably not attractive to a lot of people. I don't want to do this forever. That's the game. This is your life. We have this life to work on, and you get a chance to continue to level up, become a better person. And in most cases, you have more vitality. You're alive and vibrant, and you speak positively, and you have a clear mind. You think positively, and you brighten other people's days. That is a much better being or overall person to work towards. Then I hope I can lose 20 pounds in this program before it's over. Very different mindset. So what we do inside of our MAP, it's called our Metabolism Accelerator Program. So we create structure in your life, a clear plan you can actually follow for women in your exact same place in life, not guessing and testing, trying to figure out if this is going to work, how it's going to work, when it's going to work. It will work without question. We're doing this for 20 years. Simplicity. There's no complicated macros. There's no tracking apps, no perfection required. This is real life. This is what we do. We work you through the challenges. And there's always bottlenecks. There's always, how do I get through past this part of my life? How do I get to the next level? And that comes from someone from the outside in that's been there, has the experience, and can help you work through that. We have personalization. So built around your life, your schedule, and your starting point. A lot of times people try to follow a cookie cutter program, and they don't find the success they're hoping for, because it eventually fizzles out when they figure out it's not really meant for them, their life, or their situation. And then finally, accountability. Probably the biggest aspect women come to us for, because they've tried so many things, as buy a one-off program or they're involved in a program and nobody checks in, or there's no one-on-one, there's no group, there's no DMs. It's just crickets as soon as you sign up and you're in the door. It's like you buying your ticket to the carnival and you're ready to jump on the roller coaster, and there's actually no roller coaster there. So regular check-ins, clearly I'm entertaining myself here. So there's nothing slips through the cracks. We're there with you all the time, but you also have to understand that if you involve yourself in a program, you have to take accountability. You have to be willing to reach out. Like, say, I'm here, I'm in it. There's going to be coaches and teammates and other members that could be like, hey, how are things going? But if you're always in the back, if you're never putting yourself up forward, if you're never asking questions, asking how to get stuck, consuming the content, showing up for coaching calls, how can you expect anyone else to help you get unstuck? You have to take accountability. You have to take responsibility for the situation you're in and be proactive. You've bought your ticket. That doesn't mean you don't put any work in. You got through the door. Now let's start to put in the actual work. So if you're tired of guessing, just message me plan. You can drop that below. This is going to be posted in our free community. I'll drop that link below here. That you could be watching this on YouTube or somewhere else. But regardless, if you comment below plan, I will get back to you and I'll show you a very simple step-by-step plan that you can see, where you can see results. And you can consider working with us inside behind the doors of our MAP program as well if you like. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed some of this free content. Regardless, drop a comment below if you enjoyed, hit that like button, and we'll see you on the next one.